All right, a few things first. You guys have received the Society CSV last time, I believe, right? Yeah, we'll start with that case study. Please let me know on the chat. And you have received matches.csv and deliveries.csv for LS2 and LS3. Please check and let me know so that in case of any issue, we can get some help. Deepika, it is yes to suicide or matches or yes and deliveries too. Yes, for all. Thank you, Rishabh. Thanks, Deepika. All right, so we are good to go. Let all others join in. I would request all of you who are here. Meanwhile, can you please upload your matches and deliveries and sites to your Jupyter Notebook homepage, wherever you will be doing your coding, your work folder, wherever you have your Python files. Good evening, Praneeth. Okay. Meanwhile, we are waiting. All of you, please upload to the Jupyter Notebook homepage or the work folder wherever you have your Python files for this LS and tomorrow's. Good evening, Vishwadeep. Good evening, Ashish. We see that the people still joining. Okay, we are 30 plus now, so I think I can start for today's session. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your live session 2 for Python for Business Analytics. I'm Dr. Smita Agarwal, and I will start first of all asking any queries from live session 1. You can post it on your chat. And meanwhile, who have just joined us, please upload your societies.csv, your matches.csv, and deliveries.csv to your Jupyter work folder, wherever you will be coding your for today's and tomorrow's classes. Rishabh, society file is now downloadable. Last time there was some problem, it was resolved. You did not get LS1 Jupyter Notebook. I sent it immediately. I sent it. Okay, let me check with the coordinator. Pranjay, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Could you please check? I sent my Python file last time immediately after the class to my coordinator. Has it been uploaded for these guys?
Sure, ma'am, I'll check and I'll update you on this one.
Sure, thanks. Meanwhile, they're checking because I sent it immediately after the class, so it's almost a week now. You should be getting it. Let's see that. Okay. All right. Any other queries you have? Okay. How many of you gone through the project? I asked you to read the project once. So any queries from that part, the project? Any queries from the project if you got a chance to read once? I just asked you to read once so that the understanding, any understanding issues are there, we can resolve that. Paritosh, you cannot still download. It's not XLX, it is CSV, Paritosh. Anyone can help it out? Sure. Okay. Because Deepika, yes, in task 2, the code would be written. We'll be talking about what is being done in that code tomorrow. That is the part of your LS3, the cleaning up the code. So yes, whatever that has been written in that code, you will be explaining that, you will be writing comments on it. All right, your suicide. Everybody is having problem with the suicides or some are able to download? Deepika was able to download. So Deepika, can you send the link on the chat so that the others can download too, please? And Pranjay, can you please check on suicides.csv? It was downloadable from the Telegram app. Okay, that was shared from your Telegram group. So please download it from there, the suicide.csv. The learners were facing problems last week also. Okay. Anything else? All 3 CSVs are with you and uploaded. Good to go? All right. Ma'am, for the first question. Okay, from the project, ma'am, for the first question, 1.5, free apps that cost less than, apps that cost 5, less than 5, and is second greater than 0 question mark. All right, okay, Pravesh, that is a very specific question. Let me open your iCode on PC and lecture live on tablet. Paritosh, which one you want? Suicides? I think Paritosh, can you please ask on your upgrade buddy, because Praneet, the suicides.csv was shared on Telegram because the one that was loaded on your Google Drive was corrupt. I don't know how, but they then reloaded it on your Telegram app. So, Paritosh, can you take a help of any of your class co-learners for this, because Pranjay is looking into it. Because these is from the upgrade side, I might not be able to help you out on that much. Can you post it on your Telegram so that your Telegram buddy can help you out? The upgrade buddy can help you out. All right. Yes, Deepika suicide data was shared last week. Yes, thank you, Deepika. So it was shared last week on the Telegram app. Paritosh, if you can check from there. Something is wrong with the Google Drive one. Okay, so I cannot help you out there. Okay. All right, regarding the Parvez question, Parvez, give me a minute. Let me open the my project one. Ranjan, you have to check because during the last class it was shared on the Telegram app. I don't have access to your Telegram app, so I cannot comment whether it's currently available or not. You can ask one of your friends out here to help you with that. Regarding the project, let me get back to you, Parvez. Let me open the project. Okay, Parvez, here you have to task 1.5. It is asking you to define a function. Okay, so they have to define a function where the cost of app you have, so that you can divide your apps into 4 categories. It's a simple function where you will be dividing your apps into 4 categories. Where the cost is equal to 0, that will be your free apps. The cost is less than 5, the cost is less than 3, and the cost is greater than equal to. So it's all if and elifs. That is all. And you have to return the number of apps in each of the 4 categories. So it's simple. Just create a function and use if and elifs for it. So see, less than 5 means strictly less than 5. Equal to will be covered in the next category. See, when it's saying very clearly mentioning in the task, it is, Parvez is asking, so less than 5 will include less than 3 as well. No, it will not. It will not, Parvez, it will not. Basically, you have to create a separate buckets for each of them. So if the less than 3 one is already in another bucket, so they won't be in less than 5. And remember, equal to will not be covered here if it is strictly less than 5, as defined in the question. All right, okay. Right? Okay, so let's get back. Any other questions now? Okay, question. Ma'am, could you please explain the concept of axis? Is it different for Numpy and Panda? Okay, we'll be coming anonymous attendee. Okay. All right. Axis basically refers to your rows and columns. Axis equal to 0 is your row. Axis equal to 1 is your column. And no, they are not different for Numpy and Panda. It means the same thing. Wherever axis is referred, we'll be using a lot of axis while we're doing the visualization in LS4. And today also I'll be referring when we will be doing sorting. But axis refers, axis equal to 0 refers to your rows, axis equal to 1 refer to your columns. And in case your data structure is 3D, so the third axis is axis equal to 2. So 0, 1, 2. Axis starts from 0 indexes. 0, 1, 2. 0 is your first axis, that is your axis. Axis equal to 1. So whoever that anonymous attendee has asked the question, I hope got the answer. All right. So like, yeah, I've done. Okay, now any other question? Aishwarya is asking less than 5 and greater than 3. Ma'am, this is for condition, Aishwarya. Second one? No, third one. Third one will be equal to 3 and less than 5. Somewhere you have to account for equal to 3. So if it is not accounted for in 2, so it has to be accounted to in the third bucket. So equal to 3 has to be covered somewhere, because equal to 5 has been clearly covered in bucket 4 as per your question, but equal to 3 has not been covered in bucket 2. So equal to 3 has to be covered in bucket 3. Right? Aishwarya was asking less than 5 and greater than 3, ma'am. So equal to condition for 3 has also to be covered. Any other questions from LS1 or project? All right. So let's start today. Okay, today we will be covering pandas, but before pandas, I will be taking your suicide case study. All right. So that was a part of Numpy that was left. So in pandas, Aishwarya, the first bucket, Aishwarya is asking for the first bucket less than 5, greater than 3. Right? Because it is mentioned only less than 5. Aishwarya, see, for the first bucket, free apps. equal to 0. Second bucket, it is mentioned as less than 3. Okay, so it will be strictly less than 3 since equal to condition has not been mentioned, right? Since equal to 3 has not been covered for the second bucket, we will cover the equal to 3 in the third bucket. All right, so it will be, since it is not mentioned greater than 3 and less than 5, it has been mentioned, then we would have to ignore equal to 3 condition. It is only mentioned less than 5, so equal to 3 condition and greater than 3 condition would be covered in the third bucket, right? So greater than 3, equal to 3, and less than 5. You have to take care of these 3 things. All right. So in case, let me show you on the whiteboard. There's no whiteboard today. Just a second, let me open the whiteboard and show it to you. Where is just left? So everyone, can you see my whiteboard? Let me pause my video. All right, okay. So we have some conditions here like that. The first bucket, pre-apps. Second bucket, less than 3. Third bucket, less than 5. And fourth bucket, greater than equal to 5. Okay. So all my apps whose cost is equal to 0 will go in my bucket 1. Okay. All my apps with the cost less than 3. See, it's strictly less than 3. So it will be going in the bucket 2. Now bucket 3, it says less than 5. And bucket 4 says greater than equal to 5. All right. So for bucket 1, 2, and 4, all my conditions are very. Now the only conditions that is not clear is if my app has equal to 3, where it will go. It cannot go here. All right. It cannot go here. It cannot go here. So it has to fall into this bucket. So you need to ensure that it is greater than equal to 3 and less than equal to 5. So this will be the condition out here. Okay. I hope you got it. So everybody is saying yes now. Yes. All right. So can we proceed today? Any other question from project? All right. So we are good to go. So all of you, please open your Jupyter notebooks. And in the Jupyter notebook, please open a new Python 3 notebook. We'll be discussing your case study today. All right. So let me show you the first. So you have received your suicide CSV file, suicides.csv file. When you open it, it looks like this. All right. On the very first row, you have your column names. Rohit, please check these files are not XLX. These are CSV files. All right. If it is XLX, Aishwarya, why interrupting? Did I miss your question? No, it's not interrupting, Aishwarya. You have to ask your queries. You have to ask your queries where else you are going to ask your queries. So don't bother. Okay. You have them as XLX. No, I posted them as CSV. Even if you have XLX, so you can rename them and you can rename them as CSV files because we will be reading into pandas as CSVs. Okay. All right, please rename them as CSV files. So your file should name like this. This is what I shared with, and for the other case study, in case it is showing something else, please rename them. You can do it. It is not an issue. For XLX to CSV, it won't be any problem. Okay. So Abhinav is suggesting we can read them using, okay. Right, you can try it out because I have not tried out reading XLS. So I work only with CSV files. You open them as, otherwise what you can do is you open them in XLX and then you can do save as, and in save as, select the format as CSV. It will save for you as CSV. Okay. If you think, most likely renaming should work. In case it doesn't work for you guys, open your XLS file in your MS Excel, go to save as option. In save as option, select the format as CSV and it will work. Okay. Otherwise, Abhinav has suggested command line. You can use that one when we will be doing pandas. But for NumPy, you might need it to rename it to the CSV. Yes. That Ardash is saying, yes, renaming would work. XLS and CSVs are interchangeables. And in case it doesn't work, in case whatever the version issue might be there or anything is there, open it and save as, and you can do that. Okay, so whatever it works. Okay, the options for you are, in case you are getting XLX, is rename. Option 2 you have as open in MS Excel and use save as, and in format select CSV. Either you can choose option 1 or you can choose option 2, because for NumPy case study we will be needing CSV format. So let's go ahead now. Right. So in suicide cases in India, see, the suicide cases are monitored by World Health Organization. Let me give you some basic outline about this case. The suicide cases all over the world is being monitored by the World Health Organization, right? And the number of suicide cases happening in any part of the world, in any country, any state, actually exhibits the kind of emotional and mental health of the people there. Now you have been hired as a data scientist by WHO to understand the reasons due to which people are committing suicides in India. Okay, so the suicide data is from 2001 to 2012. All right, from around about 12 years of data you have. Okay, and you have to answer certain questions in this. What is the total number of suicide cases in India that has happened between 2001 and 12? what are the top 3 states that has highest number of suicide cases? In which year India has maximum number of suicide cases? Who committed suicide more, male or a female? And you have to analyze the data state and year wise, state and gender wise, year gender and state year gender wise. So let's see. So let us first open my suicide CSV file. Okay. When you open the suicide CSV file, what you see, the first row as the column names or the features, you can say, or the categories in which the data was stored. So we have state, comma, year, the type, there's some kind of a type code, type, then the gender, age, and total. Okay. So what we will be worried, since we have to analyze only on state, year, and gender. Those are my questions revolves around. See, state, gender, and year. So we'll be concentrating only on these 3 features. And of course, in the last, the total value. Now, if you scroll down, after the first row, the entire file is nothing but a data. So that is what you are currently seeing. All right. So let's begin. While opening the file, it is just showing that this file is active. Red dot, it means red dot. Okay, red dot, it might be uploading. If it is green like this means the file is currently active and running. Can you open that file like this? Vishwadeep is asking, while opening file on Jupyter, it is with the red dot, any reason? Can you open it, the file? It might be red dot while it is uploading the file. Since it's a very small file, I not have. File is already, it means that the file is active. The file is active. Okay. Did you do some changes? Vishwadeep, did you do some changes in that file? Okay. Can you close the CSV file and see if the red dot is still there? All right. Let's say in case it hampers your working, otherwise I think it should mean only that the file is being active. Okay, so it's currently, even if it's closed, it might be active. Okay, now let's begin. The very first thing we are going to start with is loading of our data set. So mostly we will be working with pandas in our data analysis, and we'll be using pandas to pandas read underscore CSV to load the data set. All right, but here, since we are working on NumPy and we have not started with my pandas, so we'll be loading data set using NumPy functions. So the very first thing you have to do is you have to load your library. So please import your numbers NP. Okay. So once you have loaded your NumPy library, the second thing you have to use is to load your data. Now, in the last class, we have used 2 functions. I told you about 2 functions, gen from txt, and we have used the load txt function. All right. So now, since we do not have any null data in a file, so it is safe to use gen from txt. So please use gen from txt. Give whatever the file name you have. I have shared societies.csv. So in case you have changed the name of the file, ensure that the file and your Python file are in the same folder. Otherwise, you have to give the file path, complete file path. So name of your file, delimiter would be comma. And the third thing that I have used here is I'm saying all the data type that is to be loaded from the file to my data set, okay, to my array, data array. Since it's Numpy, so it's ND array. It will be string, okay. Currently, I'm considering my entire data to be string. And the reason is this, because my first row is string. Now, guys who are a little bit aware of pandas knows that when panda reads your data set, it identifies your first row as your column headings. And that is not the case with your Numpy. So that is the one difference you will be seeing today. When Numpy loads the data, it sees the entire data as a two-dimensional array, and it does not distinguish between the data and the column headers, whereas your pandas do. Okay. So please, all of you have loaded it. Please let me know. Vishwadeep, it might be the case. Delimited, okay. Rohit B, it is not delimited, it is delimiter. It's TER in the end, not D. Please check. Okay. Vishwadeep's, in some of the IDs, red dot means that the file has been opened in debugging mode. So please check if it is somewhere you mentioned it as in debugging mode, so you can stop that. In some of the IDs, it is there. Okay. All right. So let me load the file and check on the data. All right. I did not load the Numpy. So my data is being loaded, and see my data is in now ND array. The first row as my column headers and rest of the rows as my data. And since I have already specified it to be string, so I'm getting Unicode with the maximum length of 46. Okay, just let me see. There are a couple of Rohit got an error. Okay, done. Abhinav is saying, ma'am, if I did it into pandas date, can I use suicide to Numpy to change it into array? Would that work? Yes, Abhinav, it should work, but we are dealing with Numpy, so I'm trying to do one case study in Numpy, and then we will be doing other case studies Panda. So I would let's do it in Numpy only, thinking that you don't know Pandas. All right. So it would be good. Otherwise, if you want to do it, you can do it. Rohit, you are still unable to. Okay, Rohit, data frame and shape are the part of Pandas, not Numpy. We are doing Numpy. So shape and data frame won't work in your Numpy. Okay. It will be ND array. So we're talking about arrays here. We don't know. I still with your Pandas, so we don't know what is data frame. We don't know still what is shape. Okay. So you just have to wait. We start Pandas and we'll be doing IPL case study in data frame. So this was a special request from upgrad team that one case study should be done in Numpy. So I'm doing it in Numpy. So do this case study as if you don't know Pandas. All right, guys, let me just check. Okay, what all? Yes, Vishwadeep, we are defining it to be string type so that the entire data is picked up as string. Sure. Substitution. Can you please scroll up? Done. Okay. Aishwarya, yes. For the project, you will be, Aishwarya is asking for a project. I'm using pd.reads. Yes, Aishwarya. For the project, you will be using pandas. You will be using read CSV to read the data set. And you have to do project in pandas. Okay. I am doing this case study only on the request of upgrad team that the learners want a case study on Numpy. Okay, so that is why, otherwise I'll be doing case study directly on pandas, that is IPL 20. So this case study, consider that you don't know pandas. It is only Numpy you have studied and we are doing that. Yes, NDA, got it. Okay. Kumar Baba, last time we had something as Unicode 32, Unicode 10 when we were doing with small data. Okay. U stands for Unicode, something akin to your ASCII code. ASCII code covers your small alphabets, capital letters, and numbers and your special symbols. Now, when you move on to a higher version, when you want to include more symbols, more languages, you use Unicode. That is a computer way of doing coding and understanding the languages. Okay. So here we are using Unicode with the size of 46. All right. The memory size assigned is 46. Okay. Aishwarya, for T, you will be using Panda for loading your data set for all your function and all. But yes, you will be importing a Numpy also because Panda works on Numpy. Okay, Pandas will be working. Aishwarya is asking for T for solving case studies. We need use Pandas. Yes, you will be using Pandas. But not only Pandas, but Numpy also, since that is also part of your course. Okay, Vishwadeep. Array, you are getting some garbage value. It might be that your file, just open your file, and if there is any space before state, please clear it and reload. Okay, please reload. If you're getting some garbage value before state, it might be before your CSV, there is might be some. All right. Where was the red dot, Rohit? Was it inside the file, or was it showing here, or was it showing here? Okay, inside the file, right here. So that means when you were then when your file was converted into XLX, it added something here. Try to delete that red dot, Rohit, because I cannot see it. I cannot see it. There should not be anything before it. So somewhere the file got corrupt. While, okay, I have to send instructions to upgrade not to change the. Or what you can do, Rohit, is open the file. Okay. You can open the file in the notepad. Okay, open the file in the notepad and try to delete that red dot if you see there and reload it. Okay, good. So try to remove it, Rohit, because this is something, some corruption has happened while the file was being transferred. Okay. So let's go ahead. Okay. Now let's try to understand. Now, since we have loaded the data, now remember while we were talking about Numpy, we had certain attributes. Okay. So we had talked about certain attributes of array. So let's try to run these attributes. All the attributes we studied last time: shape, endem, okay, and size, and see what we get about this society case study. So let's first run the shape. Okay. So shape tells me there are 7 columns and we have more than 2 lakh rows. Okay, 2,37,520 rows. Okay, when I run the size, I get there are 62,000 data points. Okay, then when I said endem, it tells me that it is a 2-dimensional array, right? And of course, D type I have already defined. So it is telling me it is string, and I'm checking on the first row to get the name of the column. Okay, so here your case study has more than 2 lakh of rows and more than 16 lakh data points. Okay, so it's a small case study, right? So with only 2 lakh of rows, okay, we can go ahead. Now there is a difference between Numpy and Pandas. Those who are aware of Pandas will know that when you read your data set into Pandas data frame, it identifies your first row as column headers. And that is not the case when we do in Numpy. For Numpy, all are same. So if your row 1, the very first row, or row index equal to 0, has column headers, you need to slice that off from your data to have a clean data. Otherwise, it will interfere with your analysis result. So in case of Numpy, if your very first row is your column headers, you need to slice off that row so that it doesn't interfere with your rest of your data while doing analysis. So that is why but I need those column headers, okay, because I need to know what is column 0, what is column 1. I need to identify where my state, year, and gender are, because that is where I'm going to do analysis. So I just copy and pasted here so that for my reference, I'll be going back and forth so that I understand where is my year, state, and gender are. All right. So now can you please slice it off? You have done slicing in Python in list also, and we have done slicing last time also. So please slice off your first row. You guys can do it, right? And those who do not remember, slicing off array starts from your 0th index. So my row index equal to 0 is my column headers, right? So I will slice that off. I'll slice off this row. To slice off this row, now if you remember how does slicing work, it's row start, row start, row stop, comma, column start, column stop. Okay. So now since I need all the columns, all right, so I'll just put my column and nothing before, nothing after, specifying that I need all the columns in my new data. And in row stop, I'm not putting anything, because starting from my second row where index is 1, okay, where the index is 1, second row has index. So starting from my second row, I need all my rows. So I'm not putting anything in the row stop, nothing in column start, and nothing in column stop. So this is how I create my slicing of condition, and I use same variable to assign the data to. Just a second. Okay, those who are getting garbage corrector, okay. Yes. Okay, your state was the state. Now I get it. This state is become the, okay. So you can change the data, right? You can change that, it should go. Okay. In case your first row has entirely become the garbage, please slice off your first row since we are already doing it. Abhinav is saying I was a little confused at data in the first column. Now it makes sense. Is the entire first column is garbaged, Abhinav? Is the entire first? Can you guys see my CSV? Can you please compare your CSV to my CSV and check whether it is garbage? In case you have more garbage value, then it will be a problem for you guys. I'll try to share CSV on this chat if possible. Rohit B, yes, this is to remove the header row. I need to remove the header row for my Numpy ND array. Yes, Rohit, this is for two. Means row 0 we have to, yes, we have to leave row 0 because it, like pandas, Numpy do not understand the difference between them. Only, Rohit, you're saying the state column. That means you don't have the state names? Is it just the first row, first column, or the entire first column? Abhinav, I read by pandas. So first, yes, will understand. Pandas, Abhinav, panda will understand that the first row, not the first column, is header. Pandas understand first row as header, not the column. Okay, it's resolved. So can I go ahead now? Okay, good. So everyone has sliced off their first row. Okay. My first row, okay, with index 0 are column headers. Okay. Yes, Rohit, that is what I'm saying. We have to remove headers in Numpy because if we do not remove headers, then it will interfere with my data. So to understand that, can you see? I took out the first row and copied it in as a, and copied it so that I can refer it again and again. Okay. So this is a disadvantage of Numpy and we are going, okay. All right. So all right, can you guys do one more thing for me on your Telegram chat, whatever group you have with the upgrad people? Just ask them to share my last Python file because I shared it on immediately after the class. Either they have forgot about it. In case they don't have it, let me know. I'll ask my coordinator. I send it her immediately after the class. Okay, you cannot. So how do you send your queries to your upgrad buddy? I asked, but they told they didn't receive. Okay. All right. I'll ask my coordinator to please share it. Okay. All right. I'll do that because that is important because I'll be sending this file after this class. I'll make sure that it reaches you guys. Okay. Now we are done with the slicing off. So can we proceed ahead? Now, since we have to analyze our data on state, year, and gender, okay, 3 things. So what I'll try to do is first try to identify the unique values of these data. Because if we understand the unique values of these data, then we can know how to analyze them, how to proceed with the analysis. To understand the unique value, we are going to use a function called as unique. Okay, so we are going to use an NP function called as unique. right? This can be used, this again, same function can be used in your pandas also. So what this function gives me is all the unique values that exist for that particular column. Okay, it will give me all the unique values that exist for that particular column. Now what I'll do is, okay, now what is my argument for this function? I'll give my ND array here. Okay, the argument would be ND array, and I have to specify on what all, on which rows. Okay, now I can specify first 50 rows, I can specify first 100 rows, but in this case I need all the rows. So dot dot dot, so you can see 3 dot, it refers to please consider all the rows. It asking the function to please consider all the rows, right? Now I have to identify for the state. My state is column 0, so I'm saying column 0. Okay, so I'm saying column 0. So NP unique is a function which will be working on ND array, and the dot 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 refers to all the rows, and state is on my column 0, which I have seen it here. Okay, so please execute it. I have got all the unique rows, all the unique names. Okay, now can you please check? Now the reason we ask for unique data is because there might be cases we will see when we will be doing the cleaning of the data. It might be somebody might have misspelled Chhattisgarh or Maharashtra or Meghalaya or any state, and for that same value we might have two different spellings. So before starting analyzing, we might need to correct that data. Or it might be the case somebody has written as Delhi UT, somebody has written only Delhi, somebody might have written as NCR for National Capital Region, somebody might have written as New Delhi. Although those are very different varying names, okay, but it refers to the same entity. In that case, we need to correct that. So we will talk more about cleaning of the data tomorrow. But here currently I can see all my data is, yes, Saptrishi, column 0, Saptrishi is asking, Saptrishi is asking column 0 is state column. Yes, because when we ran a check on the first row, state was the very first thing, remember? So for my convenience, I marked it like, no, Rohit, column 1 is not state, column 0, index 0 equal to index 0 is state, and so forth. Please correct. Okay. Index equal to 0. I'm more worried, I'm more concerned with the index number than the first or the second column. Okay. Yeah, column 0, right. That's right, Saptrishi, column 0 is the state. So now can you please, all of you guys, if you have understood this, can you please identify the unique data for year as well as for gender, and let me know when you're done. And in case you face any problem, let me know that too. So when you're done, just write done. Find the unique values for year and unique values for gender. Yes, there is something called as total all India, where you have total. I'm currently not deleting total states and total India. There are two data here, right? Yes. Rishabh is asking, there are two rows with the data equal to all India and total states, where contains, it might contain the total values for them. So currently I'm not deleting those rows. I'm carrying out it as with me, but yes, when we are cleaning the data, you should be deleting these three total rows, having total all India, having total states, and having total UT for all the years. it should be cleaned up. Currently, I'm not doing it. Okay. Done. Deepika has done. And Kumar Babu, Parvez, everyone. Kirti has done. So 4, 5 you guys have done. So Nishant has also done. All right. Nisha, Rekha done. Good. So let me do it also. So in year, can you see besides 2012, we have one more as year. Let me check, where is this? Okay. We'll see. Yeah. You're not getting here, so something is wrong in my data. We'll see if it interferes. We'll check on it. And okay, let me see if I have. Yes, I forgot to do this. Yes, thank you. It's clean now. I forgot to run I explained you the slice code, but I did not run it. So we have unique male and female, we have unique years, and we have unique. Now it would be a good idea if you could remove these values, but currently let's carry on with them. Okay. Now let's talk about filtering the data. Now this is the main thing you will be doing pandas, but let's try to understand the concept of filtering. Okay. Yes, Asha, you won't be hitting because you executed your slice code. I did not execute it. I explained it and moved ahead. Okay, so that is why year was showing in me and not in yours. All right, let's understand the concept of filtering. Now, filtering means out of my entire data set, for a particular condition, I extract a part of my data. Okay. For example, if I want to only the data for Maharashtra, what I'll be using is my equality condition, which probably you have learned in your Python. So filtering means extracting a part of data based on certain conditions. Okay. Now these conditions are Boolean. Okay. And you have learned about them in your Python. Now suppose I want all those rows where my state has value equal to Maharashtra. Okay. So this is my data. Okay. And this means all the rows. Okay. This means all the rows. So I'm trying to build up your condition here. Okay. This is my data. This is the name of my array, data. Now, in that data, if you remember how we do it in the last class, we talked about it. We refer to as row comma column, R comma C, when we are doing indexes. We're referring how to access my data. Indexing array, right? So when I just say one digit, it refers to the row. Second, in 2D column. Okay, when you are talking in 2D, so row comma column. Okay, this is row, this is column. This is how indexing works in a 2D array. So all the rows, I'm putting all 3 dots. And what is the column for my state? 0. So what should be the value here? Double equal to will define the value. Now it is a very good idea that you pick the value from here, copy it, and then paste it, so that any mistake regard in spellings or anything else since Python is case sensitive. So any kind of such mistake. So if you write this, you won't get any answer. So to ensure you have exactly the same value, you can copy the value from the unique answer. So this is your condition. Okay. Now this condition, this has to be executed on your entire array. So that is why you have one more brackets out here and then you refer it to. So you're getting hold of all your data which satisfy this particular condition. Okay. Now what I'm doing it, I'm storing it in a new array. Vishwadip is asking in copy paste work. Yes, Vishwadip, when I test run it, it worked for me. I cannot say it for you guys. So in case of T, it doesn't work for you guys. You might have be very careful when you're writing it, because this is one of the very common mistake I found when evaluating TE is spelling mistakes and forgetting that Python is case sensitive, so capital and smalls, or missing on something. This is a very common mistake. I've found it. So for me, copy paste works. I don't know about you guys, but you can try it out. I checked it on T, it worked. All right, why 3 dots for data? Saptrishi is asking why there are 3 dots for the data. Is that standard? Yes, Saptrishi, it is standard. All 3 dots. If I say 3 dot, it means all the rows. 3 dot means all the rows. Consider all the rows. See, the reason I have to specify all the rows, and because row, it is R, C format. Okay. Kumar Babu is asking, is it same for the column? No, it won't be same for the column, because in case of column, I can ignore writing comma. See, if you remember, let me go back to your last class when we were doing indexing. Okay. So this is here. This is my this was my 2D array, right? Okay, so I have to run it all. So it has run it all for me. So let me go back to your indexing. So this was the indexing we were doing last class. Remember? So I have a 2D array here. Let me run. And this is a share. Still running. Yes. Just a second. Okay, let me answer your questions first. Meanwhile, it is running. Okay, why there are 3? Yes, so it can be 2 or 4, should always be 3. It should always be 3. Saptrish is asking, it should be 2 or 4. No, it cannot be 2 or 4. It has to be 3. Is it same for the column? No, it is not same for the, you can do it for the column, but Kumar Babu is asking, it is same. If I have to refer only to the 0th row, okay, I can do like this. And I can ignore referring to the column. 0 means first, 0 means where? 0 here means the first column. Indexes starts from the 0. Last class we discussed, indexing starts from the 0. So here, 0 here is referring to the index equal to 0, and which is why it is referring to my first column called as state. 0 is index. Kumar, you were there in the last class, and Vishwadip, you were also there if you remember. We did indexing. I told you indexing starts from 0 till n-1 for n size array. So if I have to refer to the very first thing, the index will be 0, right? Why not data? Hitesh is asking why not data 0. Okay, Hitesh, data 0. This is, let me copy paste what you are asking here and then explain. Okay. Now the Hitesh question is, why not this? Bache, sorry. Hitesh, data 0 here means I'm referring to the first row and not the first column. Remember the format is R, C. So to refer C, I need to specify a row first. Okay, I need to specify the row first. If I say data 0, I'm referring here to the first row, not to the first column. Deepika is asking why we are using filtration for one state and do we want to check the data for Maharashtra here? Deepika, I am doing it for the one state because I want to understand. I want you guys, maybe not all of you guys, some of you might have some programming background, but since you guys are business MBA students, so I believe some of you might not have any kind of, programming experience. What I'm trying to do is build, teaching you how to build a condition for one state so that in future or a little while later, I can explain you why I'm using this condition for all the states. So if you can do it for one state in the for loop, you can do it for the all state. So I'm trying to build it up. Okay. So I am going step by step. So you can do it for Maharashtra. You can do for any of your favorite state. I'm just picking up one state at random. And the reason I'm doing it, because I'm picking up a state, I'm picking up a year, so that you understand how you can build up a condition and then you can generalize that condition for all the states and for all the year. So it's just, I'm trying to slowly build up your filtering condition for those. Rohit B, if you're looking for the suicide problem state, it is an LS1 PDF. It is an LS1 PDF. Since it's a Numpy, I did not segregated your PDFs as LS1, LS2, LS3. I have segregated your PDFs as pandas visualizations. Okay, so I guess so that when you're studying Numpy, you get everything in one place. That is the reason I did that way. Okay, Vishwadev, right, thanks. Vishwadeep is asking in T, any condition like need to be used, Numpy or Panda? Vishwadeep, you're very worried about T. So, okay. You will be using both Numpy and Pandas. You will be using both Numpy and Pandas. Mostly Pandas. Okay, 90% Pandas. Numpy would just be there to support your Pandas. Okay. So, good. So, let's move ahead. Okay. Now, you have filtered your data for Maharashtra. Okay. So, I'm checking it on it. Something is wrong. Okay, I did something. Yeah. That's right. Okay. Now, if you see, when I ran this code, okay, I'm getting all the data for the Maharashtra. All right. Now, since we uploaded a CSV from Numpy, so you should know how to save it also. So just for the completeness, in case you want to save your data, your filtered data to a CSV to be passed on, right? So you can use a command called as save txt. Say, call it maharashtra.csv, or I can call it cohort 11 ls2. All right, cohort 11 ls2. I can name it anything. Okay, it's just with CSV format. The data set you want to store, the array you want to store. So it's the name Maharashtra here. So I'm putting it Maharashtra. I want it in the string format. So %s, in which format you want to store. Since it has my strings and numbers and everything, so I'm storing it. And the delimiter, ER, as comma. Okay. So when I execute it, if you go back to your Jupyter homepage, you can see this CSV was created few seconds ago. Okay. And if I open it, you can see it contains all my Maharashtra data. Okay. It contains all the suicides from the Maharashtra. All right. Let's move on. Now, similarly, if you want a data from a particular year, okay, if you want a data from a particular year, okay, let's say from a particular year, and I say 2012, okay. So what I'll do is I'll say year 2012 data. Can you tell me what column I should, what value should I use here? What value should I use here? Just a second. One. Yes, year is 1. So you will have here as 1. And now since currently your entire data is string, okay, your entire data is string. So I have to write 2012 in the quotes. Please. 2012 in the quotes. Please execute this code and let me know if you're getting the answer. Meanwhile, anonymous attendee has put a question in question and answer. When I run Maharashtra, I'm getting something like, okay, anonymous attendee is asking a question. Please check the condition you have put. I think you have put a small m or spelling mistake. What you are getting is a blank output, okay, an empty array. You're getting an empty array because your Python could not match any data with the condition. Okay, so if you were successful in loading your data, okay, if you were successful in loading your data, then it might be possible that you are writing a wrong conditions. So could you please write your condition you have? If you're not still getting an answer, you could not find, please write it on the chat or Q&A. Okay, it worked. Thanks. All right, good. Okay. Please don't post answers here, Kumar Babu. In case you have any having any issue, do post it, because then I keep losing. Please don't post the answers here. Just writing done would be suffice. All right. Thanks. Okay. Now you have done it for a year. You have done it for a state. Now, what if I want data from Maharashtra and only that data which is of year 2012? What if I want data from Maharashtra and for the year 2012? What should I use? Abhinav is asking, ma'am, isn't the year code incorrect? Which year code you are referring to, Abhinav? Please, can you please clarify? I couldn't understand which code you are referring to. It should be index 1. Yes, it should be index 1. Yes, it is index 1. It is index 1. I changed here by mistake. Thanks for correcting. So this was for the state, this is for the year. Now, both will work, Ashish. Single quotes and double quotes both will work for 2000 when you're referring to string. Okay. All right. Now I want you guys to filter out data for Maharashtra state and for the year 2012. How will you do it? Yes. Can I get some answers on the chat? Can I get some answers on a chat? Yes, and condition. Ashish is saying and condition. So you guys are aware of the and condition? Yes, Rohit B is saying filter to 12 form. So you guys have two options. You want for a particular state and for the particular year. Either do in 2 steps. First get for that state and from that state get for that year. Okay. Either execute this way. That is the option 1 that Rohit is referring to in the chat. First get the state and then from the state get the year. Or what Ashish was referring to in the chat. Now remember, I have not altered your original data. Okay. So this is my first option. Here I'm getting for Maharashtra and from Maharashtra 2012. I'm doing it here in 2 steps. Now remember that I have not altered your original data. All right, I have not altered your original data. So your original data is still intact. And condition. This is what Ashish was referring. You guys must have done it in your Python. So Deepika, now you can see why I'm building it slowly. So I'm building a complex case so that when you see a most complex case out here, you don't get overwhelmed by it. Okay. So I'm using my first condition from this statement. Okay. From this statement. And I'm using my second condition from the year 2012 statement. Now I want both to be true. I want both to be true. So I'm using and operator in between. All right. And I am going to get the same result. Done? Right? Okay. Done, guys? So we got it for the state. We got it for the year. Now, see, our case is, so we have to analyze state-wise, year-wise, and there is a condition state, year, and gender. So can you guys run a condition on the original data for me for a particular state, say Maharashtra only, for a particular year, say 2012, and choose a gender of your choice, male or female. All of you guys run this condition on the original data so that you know how to build a condition for 3 features. Okay. Can you please do it and let me know? Yes. I'll show you. Joy is asking, can you please show it? Yes. Joy, here it is the data. We use this condition for Maharashtra. We use this condition for year. And we put both the condition in the parentheses. So they are treated individually. And use our and operator in between. Okay. Now, can you please add a third feature here and add a gender of your choice? Please go ahead and do it and let me know. You remember the gender column? Done. Okay. Okay. Yes, Vishwadeep. No. Deepika, state, gender, and year. All 3. Vishwadeep, check your brackets. If it is throwing an error, just check on your brackets, please. Since it's a complex condition, we are slowly building. It might be a bracket you might have missed. See, You put your first condition in one parenthesis. This is your data. Okay. You put your condition 1 and operator, and you put your condition 2. Okay. So make sure, and you can copy your condition 1 and 2 from the previous one. Vishwadeep, can you just check what error you're getting, and if you can post it on the chat in the small format, I can help you out then. Because just throwing an error, I won't be able to know what error you might have done. Parvez answer is, ma'am, answer is visible in screen share. Don't worry, koi baat nahi. Koi baat nahi. It will help with the people who might have some problem or difficulty in understanding. Okay, so we are done with the year gender, right? Everyone is done. So can we now come to our questions? So now we have understood what kind of data we have. We understood how to filter our data and to work on the conditions. Now I think that answering our questions would be easy. Okay. Now my first question was, what is the total number of suicide cases in India between 2001 and 2012? So let's try to answer our first question. So this is my first question. Okay. So what are the total? Now I have to sum. Okay. Now I'm asking for the total number of suicides and I have to do a sum. Now problem is that I loaded entire set of my data as string. Now I cannot run string sum on string, right? So I need to convert my total column into integer. So can you tell me? So I'm going to use a function called as type. Okay. So remember, we have loaded everything as string. We loaded everything as string, and I cannot run my sum function on the string. Okay, I cannot run my sum function on the string. So, and my total column is index equal to 6. Okay, my total column is index equal to 6. So I need to convert my total column from string to the integers. And this is the function we are going to use called as type. Okay. All right. Okay. So Vishwadeep figured out what the error was in his case. That's very good, Vishwadeep, because just read your error and you might be able to figure out 99% of the time. Only 1% you might need my help. It's good. Very good. So if you can figure out your errors, good. Now, so let's proceed. So I need to convert my total from string to integers. So I will be using as type. Okay. It's as simple as that. It has converted. Now the problem is, since I have not restored it into a new data or rewrite it on my ND array, so my original is still intact. Since I have not rewritten it, I have not used an assignment operator. Just let me have a water. Okay, I have not used assignment operator here to assign back to the column. So my original data is intact. Okay. So while calculating it, I'm redoing it. Okay. So if somebody is asking, ma'am, you have done it here once and why you're doing it again? Okay. So I'm using my print statement. It is the same print statement you have used in Python. just putting in quotes what I'm calculating. And here is the operator. So I used what I did to convert and called my sum function on it. So just it's more than what? 1 crore. It's crore. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, more than 1 crore 30 lakhs. More than 1 crore 30 lakhs of suicides in India. Okay. Or if you say more than 13 million suicides in India from 2001 to 2012. I hope everyone got this one. Question number 1. It's a simple summarization, totaling of your data on the totals column. Okay. Done. Okay. All right. Now let's move ahead to our second question. Now what I need to find is the total number of suicides state-wise. Okay. I want the total number of suicides state-wise. That means how many suicide cases in Maharashtra, how many in Uttar Pradesh, how many in Kerala, and so on and so forth. All right. For this, I'm going to use my for loop. Remember the for loop from your Python? What was it format? For, if you remember, you might have done it something like for item in, say something, your range, or you might have used a range function, or you might have used some list. Okay, whatever, and sorry, there is no E here. And then you executed a statement out here. Okay, and some statement you worked on. Remember the for loop syntax? So we are going to use that same syntax out here. Now, okay, I have to find it state-wise. So I'm taking my item to be state for every state. Now I need to give it in a list. Okay, for every state in the list. Now, where I'm getting my list out here, or list or array or any kind of data structure, I can get the unique name of each and every state by the unique functions we have, the statement we have executed earlier. So I'm just copying it, pasting from there, np.unique, so that I can get the name of each state once. All right. Then, okay, print the name of the state. Print the name of the state where where the data has that same state name. Okay, so if you remember, data dot equal to Maharashtra, I did for one for Maharashtra. Now I'm doing it for each state. And then same thing, we close this bracket. Okay, we close this bracket. And this is the code for sum. Total is on 6th. So you carry out sum. You change the total value to integer, and then you carry out the sum. So it is a little complex statement, but it should not be complex to understand because we were building it for the last 1 hour. Print the name of the state. This is I picked up from the condition Maharashtra. This is the I picked up from the unique we did. And this I picked up from your previous question when we are doing the totaling. So you have understood this one, you understood this one, and you understood this one. And we are combining it to get the answer in this format. For each state, I am getting the total. It is a kind of grouping. We will use grouping when we will do pandas. But if you have to do grouping using only Numpy, this is how you do it. Ma'am, I'm getting an Pranay is saying I'm getting an added invalid literal for int with base 10 total. Okay, Pranay, did you slice it off? Did you slice it off your first column? Because if you haven't sliced it off for the first column, for your first row, total is there written. Okay, so if you're getting this error, invalid literal, that means your entire column is not only string, it has some string value. And if it is showing the string value as total, that means you have not slicing it. Deepika, you have also not sliced it off. Just check your data. Just check your data, Deepika and Pranay. If you check your data, it is your original data without slicing off your first row. Slice off your first row, then you won't get this error because total is there. See? This is here the total is. Yes, please remove, slice off your first row. Then you won't get this error. Praneeth, brackets are confusing. Yes, I know, Praneeth, brackets are confusing. It might be overwhelming. That is why for last 1 hour, I was, slowly building you up your conditions, each and every condition, so that when I use this statement, you don't get overwhelmed. Okay, this is for the state. Everyone will, if you have done for the state, please do it for, can you try and do it for, okay, year wise. And try to answer the third question. In which year India has maximum number? Try to do the same totaling for year wise. If you can do it. Same, if you have understood, you should be able to do it for the year also. Try to do year wise as well as gender wise, please. Okay. Just a second. All of you do it year wise as well as gender wise, the way I have done it state wise. And meanwhile, I'm answering all the questions in the chat. Okay. Deepika, remove the first row. Okay. Yes, Deepika, if you have done data equal to data, though this should work, can you please do one thing? Write data again and to check whether first row was removed. It should have been removed. Parit, just Deepika, let me check. Paritosh, Paritosh says did not understand the bracket. State to sum. Okay, I'll explain that. How come we are giving two brackets in the same data set? Okay. All right, Paritosh. This is the first. Okay. See, Paritosh, here we are doing two things. We are filtering the data and we are summarizing the data. Okay. We are doing two things. We are filtering the data as well as we are summarizing the data. When I'm using the first bracket, okay. When I'm using the first bracket, I'm filtering the data for a state. Now, when I'm getting all that data, all right, here, I'm getting all my data for a particular state. And this is my now data set. Now this is my complete, this has kind of become now my array. Okay, let me copy it for you. See, it is kind of, concatenating the condition. So this is my becomes a new data. Okay. This is something we have done for the Maharashtra, right? Okay. Paritosh, all right. I hope you're understanding. Okay. Now this has become your new data, right? So instead of giving it a new array name, what I am doing is, if I do this in 2 steps, right? I filter my data. Okay. I filter my data like I filtered it for Maharashtra and named it a new data set or a new array Maharashtra. All right. Here I rename it to a new array, new data. Now on new data, I say this condition. Okay. This is something I have done in my totaling case here. Right? All right. So instead of doing it in my 2 steps, filtering and then summarizing, what I did was I concatenated my both the conditions and avoided creating a new variable. So I did it in a single step to make it more efficient. You know, otherwise I would first filter it out, and for each state I'll store it in a, you know, separate variables. So I would have created a new variable, right, having for each state, and then applying some of it. So instead I did it, instead of 2 step, I did it in 1. I hope you got it, Paritosh. Vishwadeep, I'll just answer the question in 1 minute. Let me check if Paritosh got it. Got it? Also, where did you define state? I did not define state. I'm using a for loop. Paritosh is asking, where did you define state? I did not define state. I'm picking state from the list of my states. I'm doing a for loop out here, Paritosh. I'm running a for loop. So what we'll do, this statement will create a list of all the unique values of my state. And when I'm using a for loop, first it will pick Andhra Pradesh, then it will pick in whatever, Arunachal Pradesh, then it will do it for, you know, Andaman Nicobar Islands, then for Assam, then for Bihar. So for first iteration, it is picking Andaman and Nicobar Islands. For second iteration, it is picking Andhra Pradesh. Third iteration, it is picking Assam. So this is a generalized variable I'm using. This is my list of state from unique. Hitesh is asking, will Paritosh, instead of you use yes. State is my iterable variable. So that it, see, I, J, K, it is more of a generalized thing which you used. State I am here using because I need anyone reading my code to understand what it is that I's and J's are referring to. All right. Okay. Right. Paritosh got it. Now let me see what is the next question out here. Vishwadeep is asking, what happened if the if we are not using as type int? Okay, Vishwadeep, if you do not use it as int, your totals are string, and if your totals are string, then you cannot use your sum functions. So to use your sum function, you need to convert them from string to the integer. Okay, you need to convert it to the integer. Okay. Okay, Deepika is saying after using slicing, I'm getting this. So Deepika, your row is sliced. Okay, Deepika, if you have sliced this, did you store it again? I'm answering Deepika's question. Deepika, just a second. Deepika, after slicing, did you assign it again? Because if you did not assign it, it might have sliced and give you the answer, but your original data might be intact. Just check on it. Can you see? After slicing, you should be assigning it either to a new value or to the same value, whatever it is the case. So then you should not be. Hitesh is asking, will this colon comma 6 should work? Yes, it should work, Hitesh. It should work. Abhinav, we can try printing in small bits of code, so that is what we were doing, Abhinav. Small bits of code. See, step by step, that is what I was building so that you understand this condition. To understand this condition, I was building it step by step only. Okay. Because if I break it, it will become a more complex code. Okay, Deepika, you is saying you have assigned. Then Deepika, then you should not be getting that total error. Just guys, excuse me. There is, okay. Getting, okay. Then that should, there is, this error is EOL while scanning string literal. Deepika, can you post your exact error, what you're getting in the chat? Because it's something different from the other person was getting. Receiving built-in method error. Excuse me, just a second, guys. Okay, Abhinav, I got what you're saying, but I think you guys are mature enough to understand this. I don't have to build it. If you think you need that way, then you can understand that way. But if I try doing like this, I won't be able to, go ahead. It'll take a lot of time. It's already. Okay. Just a second. Let me, Deepika, if you're getting end of line error, so there might be some extra characters which are hidden in your data set. That might be creating the problem. See, it is referring something blank. So there might be some extra blank rows or extra blank, spaces after your data. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. So let's proceed. You guys have done all the rest of you guys who were able to do it. Were you able to get the same total for your year as well as for your gender? Okay. So I think we can answer question number 2 and question number 3. So which year has the highest suicide? Can you tell me? Those who have done it and those who have not done it, just copy paste and change it here, the column. Yes, Vandana is right. 2011, we have the maximum suicide. And right. And who committed more suicide, male or female? Vandana, right. Male. Okay, good. So we have answered question number 2 and we have answered question number 3, right? Okay. 4 also. All right. Second question was top 3 states. So can you answer top 3 states? I'll show it gender-wise, Joy, just a second. Answer top 3 states, please. We have done it for states also. Joy, you want to see gender-wise? Yes, let me show you gender-wise. Meanwhile, name the top 3 states. This is gender-wise, Joy. Yes, answer top 3 states. Rohit, you want to sort? You can go ahead and sort. Otherwise, you can answer it right there because you can do it right now and give me the answer. Sorting we will do in Pandas because that is where I want to spend more time and concentrate more. You just go ahead manually and answer me the questions right now. And sorting we'll do in Pandas because there we need a lot of sorting. I want to spend more time in Pandas. Just answer me the top 3 states, guys. And we can proceed. I'm waiting. Answer in chat. We have already executed this code. Okay. All right. It might, taking comparison make time. So Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. All right. Okay. Ajit is, I'll take your word for it, Ajit. Okay. 81,000, 84,000, 81, 84. I think Vandana is right. It's West Bengal, Andhra, and Maharashtra. Right? Yes. No, Maharashtra is 4,51,000. 9,90,000. Okay, guys. All right. Okay. All right. So the last question is analyze this data. Now, if you see in each of the questions above, we did it only for the one feature. Okay. Either for the state, we did summing only for the state, or we did summing only year-wise, or we did summing only gender-wise. Now, what if I want summing or summarization of the data on 2 features? Say, I want state and year-wise. I want how many suicides were committed in Maharashtra in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2012. All right. So we did concatenation of conditions here. using and, right? So we are going to use the same thing, but now as well as we are going to do the iterations. So if I have to do iteration for two features, I'm going to use two for loops. So I'm going to use my state and for my year. Okay, I'm going to use two for loops. I'll pick this one. Okay, and then I'm going to print the state, I'm going to print the year, and I'm going to print the condition. Okay, the condition is and condition, something similar to what we have done Maharashtra in 2012. Okay, and then the same thing for code for summary. So copy paste your code from above, okay, so that you don't have to rewrite the whole statements. I hope you understand. We are doing it for the two features, all right, two features, state and year. Since we have to iterate over all the states and then for all the years, so there will be two for loops. So you understood the statements because we have done it earlier. So I'm going to print the state, I'm going to print the year, and I'm going to filter out my data based on state and year, and I'm going to do a sum on it. So see, these conditions have become more and more complex in Numpy. It will become a very simple in Pandas. Okay, this will become very, very simple in Pandas. Please go ahead and execute this one. Done. Let me know once you're done. See, it's nothing new you're writing. It's just you are concatenating what you have done before. Okay. Rohit has done. Rohit, can you go ahead and do it for how to execute max value attribute here? See, if you, Paritosh, you want to execute max value, so instead of dot sum, you just use your max function, max, and brackets. So you will get max out there, max value. But you have to find the maximum value out of all the sums. So it will, after sum, you have to do the max. Okay. So either you store that values in a new array and then execute max, or you concatenate it. It's your choice. You can work, not working. What is not working? Which one is not working, Paritosh? Concatenation or storing? For storing, you have to write a little more, 3 or 4 lines of code. Okay. Okay. Max after it is not working. Paritosh, where you have used this condition, max one, in the print statement, for two features or for a single feature? For which condition? I'll try it. Max case, so sideways, statewise. Okay. So what I'll do it here is, okay, so see, it is a running condition, right? It is a running condition out here, and we are not storing it. So that is why it is not working. What you have to do, instead of printing, you have to create a new array out here, right? In which you will have all these values. Okay, you will have a 2D array. Paritosh, see what you are doing is here, what we are having is we are printing a running condition, and we are not storing the values which we have calculated here in any variable. Okay, we are not assigning it anywhere. Now what I have to do is I have to use another, I'll create an empty array out here. Okay, I'll create an empty array, right? I've explained to you. Now in that empty array, I'll store this value. Okay, I'll store this value. I'm not storing this of my calculation. I'm just directly printing it. So I have to store that value. Then once you store that value in whatever array you have, okay, all right, it is a 2D array. So whatever you have stored it in that new variable, you can use it to sort, or you can use your max function on it. Okay, so you have to store this entire data in a new variable, in new array. Okay, and then only you will be able to sort and get a max function out of it. Okay, I'm not storing it anywhere. I'm just, filtering it, summarizing it, and printing it. Now, after filtering and summarizing, I have to store it and treat it as a new data and then work on it. Okay. Joy is getting unexpected end of file while parsing. Joy, when you are getting this error, check brackets. Yes, you have to check your brackets. Okay. Some mismatch. All right. Okay, guys, can we go ahead? So, let me leave some work for you guys. Since I have done it for one state and year, okay, you guys can go ahead and do it for state and gender, year and gender, and then try more complex one for the 3 features. So I believe you guys can do it now. So we are not doing it here today. In case you face any problem, let me know tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we have a class. Okay, so I'm closing my, in case you need anything. Okay, and I'm moving on to pandas now. Okay, so I'm starting with pandas now. Yes, 3 conditions will take some time, Rohit. Rohit has done for 3 conditions. Okay, it will take some time because it is a big calculations. Okay, so you have 16 lakh data points to consider. Now let's move on to the pandas, guys. Okay, now pandas are another library in your Python, and it is a very, very important library. This is a library if you're working on data analysis, if you're working on natural language processing, if you're working on deep learning, anywhere you are actually handling data and lots of data, Panda is there. Okay. Now, one thing, it is the most important library in your data analysis point of view, and we will be using maximum of this. And people who were worried about term and examination, yes, your most of the questions will come from pandas. Numpy would be just a supporting case. All right. So let's begin with our pandas. Pandas is a data structure. Okay. Oh, sorry. Pandas is a library. It has 2 data structures, series and data frame. Please share Jupyter path. Okay, you guys want a 5-minute break? Take a 5-minute break. Okay, I'll just give you 5 minutes break. Ranjan, which Jupyter path you want? Which Jupyter path you're looking for? Which Jupyter path? Yes, I'm here only. Let's restart it. last class and this. I still not get your question. You want path for Python file, Jupyter notebook file? Okay. Okay. All right. I got it, Ranjan. See, for the last class, for the last session, I sent my Python file as a post ls content, because while working with you guys, I make a lot of changes in the file. Okay. You guys code, most of you guys code side by side. Some of you might not be able to, some might have missed certain points. So I send it as a post content. I have already sent ls1 Python file to my coordinator. It should have reached you guys, but if it has not reached, I'll send my mail again to my coordinator after this class, along with the file which we are working today on. Okay, along with the file which we will be working today. So Python files you are getting as post ls content. All the PDF, the slides, as well as the CSV file you are getting as a pre-ls content. Okay. If you have not got it, because I have not reminded my coordinator, I did not mail during the class, I'll mail her after the class. Okay. Tanmay, okay, Tanmay is here. Tanmay have raised. Tanmay, yes, guys.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Tanmay.
Pranjal is said. I forgot to change my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Pranjal.
So I have raised it with the team. They are checking on the same. They will resolve it quickly now.
All right. Pranjal, can you do one more thing? The one suicides.csv. Last time during the class, it was shared on the Telegram, but can you please ask them to reload it on the Google Drive, because those who are not attending the class, they might face the problem. So if they can actually change it on the Google Drive wherever the content is being placed for the students, please. And also please do not change the, file type. I send a CSV file and the students are getting XLX file.
The format, right? Yeah, format.
Yes, because that will create problems for them. That is creating problems while they're solving the questions out here.
Sure, I'll inform the team, yeah.
Yes, because this was the same case with the last batch also. So somebody is changing the property, file property, please.
Sure, I'll inform the team right away so that they can see the correct format of the file. Suicide.csv, right?
Yeah, the file, to see, there will be suicide.csv, there will be match.csv, and there will be deliveries.csv. All three files should be in the comma separated value format, not in MS Excel format. And I have sent the same to my coordinator.
Sure, I'll inform them so that they can share the correct format. Yeah.
Right. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I cannot do it that way. I'm not allowed to directly send anything to you guys. As a faculty, I have to send it to Narsimhanji guys, and Narsimhanji guys will send it to Upgrade. That is the path I have to follow. I cannot send it. I'm sorry, but I cannot send it to your group email. Okay. I'm not supposed to have a direct contact with this. Okay, I think they are downloaded. That is why it is coming in. Okay. I'm really sorry, Parvez, but I have to follow certain policies and rules, and it is very strictly mentioned not to get, not to, send anything to the students without the proper route, because they need to have the proper documentation. It is see, you all are guys are working, and you know that these kind of policies must be followed while working, right? In case you have any issues, you raise it to your grad buddy, or you raise it to my in the class, and I'll make sure things are rectified. Okay. Okay. All right. So 5 minutes are over. So let's get back to pandas. Any other issues, guys? Paritosh, how do I save that in an empty array? I'm able to save it in the list using temp. Yes, you can do it if you're using a list. See, Paritosh, you have multiple ways of doing it. Let me show it to you. Okay. So last time when we were doing creating an arrays, okay, what you can do is, since you know the number of states you have, either you can create an array of zeros and you replace that data, okay, or okay, so you can do that. See, since arrays are immutable, all right, so you can create an array of zeros or array of ones so that you have a basic structure that you need, and you replace those values, okay, using ij. Or if you don't want to, a better way of doing it would be to do it in the pandas. That will make your life easier. Okay, so let me make sure your life is easy and don't work it on numpy. Okay, so don't work it on numpy. If you want to sort and have the max, do it on the data frames. That will be easy. Otherwise, if you want to do it in numpy, create an array of zeros or create an array of ones, fill those values. Request you to cross check after 2-3 days if they have shared file, because we get one reply only, that is has been shared by faculty. Okay, Deepika, I can assure you I can this is not the right way, but yes, I can tell you the exact time I have shared. See, I send it, I'll tell you, I send it to my coordinator. The exact timestamp was 26 June at 1:49 p.m. Okay. So we finished our class at around what time? Okay. 1:30 around that time. And I shared the code file at 1:49 p.m. June 26, 1:49 p.m. That is the timestamp. I have it on my sent mail. So if they're saying it has not been shared, I'm sorry, but that's not correct. That is the timestamp I have it. Okay. I'll definitely remind it to my NMI's coordinator. I do not have a direct touch with your upgrad buddy, so I'll just send a mail to my coordinator. Okay, she will ensure that you guys get it. Okay, that is that I can make sure. Okay, so can we please go ahead now with the pandas? Okay. So we were talking about pandas. Pandas is your library, one of the most important libraries with your Python. And if you're working either with data analysis or with your natural language processing or with your deep learning or with your computer vision, anywhere with their Python is being used today, right? The Pandas is there to handle your data. Okay. So Pandas is there to handle your data. Okay. So today we will be talking about the basic data structures, and let's say if we are able to do the creation of the data frame. So tomorrow morning we are going to start with your IPL T20 matches case study. So today I'll just concentrate on different types of data structures which Panda have, series and data frame, and we can do the data frame. Okay. Now the pandas, besides your mathematical and statistical functions, the mathematical and statistical functions of pandas is based on NumPy. Okay, so if you open the code of your pandas, you will see is actually calling NumPy underneath, but they are much more efficient. Okay, they are much more efficient. So besides certain mathematical and statistical function, pandas also has certain financial functions. All right, pandas also has certain financial functions. Okay, so which you can use in your financial analytics. All right. Now there are two major data structures in pandas. Okay, there are two major data structures in panda. One is your series and one is your data frame. Okay, there are two important structures. So once we start our case study, we will be working on the data frame, but we will try to understand what series is. Okay. So series is nothing but your one-dimensional structure, something similar to your list in Python and something similar to your arrays we were doing in your Numpy. Okay. So it's nothing but a one-dimensional sequence of values of any data type. The size is immutable. That means once we have created series, you cannot change the size of your series. So that is very important. That is one part that you must remember. For the series, once the series has been created, the size cannot be changed. Okay. Now, there are a couple of ways you can create your Pandas series. Okay. Number one, from your raw data or the scalar values, something which can be expressed as your list. Values separated by commas inside the square bracket. So series is your function. This is something similar which you have seen with your Numpy. So you can create series. Now your series is much more powerful than your Numpy. Okay. Your Pandas is much more powerful from your Numpy, and your series is much more powerful, offers you many wider functions, much more efficiency than your Numpy and the array. Okay. So you can create your series from your raw data. All right. Now, if you see the output out here, there is a difference between the output which you see in your, when you created your Numpy array from the scalar values, or you can say raw data. This is how you created your Numpy array from the raw data. And this is how you created a series from your raw data. Looks similar, but the output is different. So can someone point it out? What is the difference? Scalar value means raw data. Yes, Rohit and Vishuddhi both are saying that we can see the indexes. Yes. So that is a difference. Here, you can identify the indexes 0, 1. So since as a programmer, I have not given any index. So my Panda has assigned index to the values. It started at index from the 0. So it is a 0 indexing. All right. Now, the second thing I can do here is I can define my index. So here I've created my series from numerical values. So now if I want to create a series from string values, I can do that. I can have a list of strings, and then I can user define those values. I can give anything. I can give 1, 2, 3. Okay. I can define any kind of index as a user, or I can give X, A, B, C. Just a second. Since it's a string, it has to be in the quotes. Right? So with the Pandas, I can define my indexing. If I do not define, it will give itself from 0, 1, 2, 3. And I can define indexing to be any number. It can be any character. It can be any string. So basically, just like your column headers, my index becomes my row headers. So you can refer your index. If you're defining your own indexes, you can refer them as row headers. Okay. So you can have your data as numbers or strings. You can have indexes as numbers or string. It might not be continuous. It can be anything. Say I'm creating a series of number of days in a month. So these are my data values, and indexing I'm referring to the as months. So when my series is created, my row headers or my indexes are the name of my month and the value and the data in the second column, in the first column. See, this is not the first column. This is the index column. This is my first column. It contains my data values. we are using list. This is not an array. This is list. Parineet is asking, so we can use arrays inside the series. Yes, you can create from array, but here this is a list. In Python, this is, in other programming language, you may refer them as array, but in Python, we refer them as list. And if you want to use arrays, so that is my next task. I'm creating a Numpy array, and from Numpy array, I'm creating my Panda series. Right, Python? Okay, good. So this is how you can create with numbers, with string, and with the different values of indexing. So this is something basic about series. Now, if you want to create a series from Numpy array, you can do it. First, you create your Numpy array from your scalar values or raw data. And that value you pass whatever the Numpy ND array you have created, pass that variable name to your series function. And then you have your series. So you have NP array payment, you have PD series payment. So this is how this is the difference between your array and series. And now if you check on type, you will get it as series. Okay. So this is something very simple, and this is something you can, do it. Now there is something called as descriptive statistics. This is very important. You will be talking, see, whenever you will be loading your data, after getting the shape of the data, after getting the information about the data, the third thing you will be talking about is descriptive statistics whenever you are doing analysis. Now, when we talk about descriptive statistics, what all it contains? It contains the count, that is the number of data. It contains the mean of the data. It contains the standard deviation value, and it contains the 5-point summary. The 5-point summary referred to as minimum, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, and max. We talked about 25, 50, and 75 percentile last class. So that is the reason I talked about it in the last class when we were doing Children's Academy case study. Okay. So whenever you use a function called as describe, which will be using, every time you are doing a new project or new analysis. So after getting a shape and info, you are going to use a describe. And this works only for those columns which are numerical in nature. Numerical means either they are integer or they are floats. It will not work. Definitely doesn't make any sense to get the mean of string values. You cannot get a mean, maximum, or percentile or standard deviation for the string values. You will only get it for the numerical values. So you can call on the function describe for a series I have created here. Yes, this Kumar Baba is asking, it is same as the summary statistics. Yes, this is same as your summary statistics referred to in your project. Yes, this is the summary statistics, descriptive statistics. In terms of your project, it is referred to as summary statistics. In terms of your stats, it will be referred as descriptive statistics. Okay. All right. So you call the function describe, and you get all those values on the series. And if you're doing it on the data frame, you will get it for all the columns which are numerical in nature. We will just see in a while or tomorrow when we are doing a case study on the IPL matches. Okay. So this is the function, and don't forget to use that function whenever you start with your analysis. All right. Okay. So we have created from the raw data, we have created from your Numpy arrays, and we can create it from the dictionary also. Now remember, from Python, the dictionaries are nothing but a key value pair. Okay. Dictionaries are nothing but a key value pair. So I create a dictionary here where I have a country name and I have its capital. Okay. a very simple dictionary you might have created while learning Python. So it is a key value pair. All right. And I'm just printing your dictionary here and just pass it on the variable pd.pd here, referring to the pandas. We have alias pandas as pd. Okay. And then the series, and just pass on the name. And it is again displayed as, what it has done is it has picked your country name as your row header, or all your country name, which were your keys, okay, which were your keys in your dictionary. It has picked up it as your indexes or your row headers, okay. And values, which were your capitals, it has picked up it as your date. So that is why I wanted to do dictionary separately here, because you need to understand how your keys and values are picked up when it is converted into series. Okay. So let's move ahead. Since you have created from a dictionary, you have created from Numpy, and you have created from a raw data, I think you can create it from your list even. Okay. So that will not be a difficult task for you. Now let's try to access the element of a series. Okay. Let's try to access. See, indexing again. So indexing again, it starts from 0, it goes till n-1. Okay. Same way the way you access your arrays. Okay. The indexing goes same way. All right. So let me repost the array I have created here. I'm going to refer it as again in the data. So I'm just reposting it here so that I don't have to scroll up again and again. Let's execute it. Okay, so indexing is same as the way it has been to your arrays from 0 to n-1. So when I ask for index equal to 2, I'm getting the value which is my third element in my series. Okay, so I'm getting as a third element of my series. So execute it. And in case I have created using a index which is not numerical, okay, I created here. So I created here. So if I say Feb here, my index out here is Feb. So it will just give me the value for the Feb. Okay. And here I have created for as ABC. So let's see if I want to access it here as C. So it will just give me the value for C. All right. So this is simple, very, very simple. So we have done this, we have done accessing. All right. Okay. So for dictionary, of course, the same way. I have not executed this one. Okay. All right. So this is simple. Any issues till now? You understood how to create a series, how to access the series, how to, right, good. So let's do slicing. Same thing, start value, stop value. Okay. So you define your start value. The stop value is not included. All right. So you are getting your second row and your third row out here. Okay. Same thing, slicing. So nothing here new to learn. Now let's move on to the data frame, which is the most important data structures, and we will be working throughout while doing our analysis on the data frames. Okay, so you can create an empty data frame simply like this. Now remember, data frame is two-dimensional. Okay. Two-dimensional means it is always two-dimensional. There is no single dimension. In case you're working with a single dimension, you work with series. If you're working with two dimension, you're working with data frame. You have your rows and you have your columns. All right. So it is a kind of a tabular structure which you see in your Excel. Now, remember Numpy used to have only homogeneous data, Numpy array. With data frame, you can have heterogeneous data. That means your one column could be integer, the other column could be your float, the third column could be integer, and fourth column could be a mix of anything float to integer to strings. So, even in your different rows, you can have different variety. There, pandas would treat the data type to be object. So the data type in pandas would be integers, data type would be float, and third data type in panda would be object, which you will see. An object could be a string or could be a mixed data type. All right. And in data frame, we have column headers and we have row headers. If you do not have row headers, then it is generally taking as index from 0 to n-1. And usually your data sets, which are defined in CSV file, has the first row as your column. So when you read your CSV file, Panda consider your first row, the very first row, as your column header. All right. You will see slowly and slowly as we execute certain more codes out here and when we will read our CSV. So let's start creating a data frame. The first step, we can create an empty data frame out here. Simply data and equal to and two empty brackets. All right. This is a plain empty list I have created. Okay. This is an empty list. And I passed on this empty list to pd.dataframe. Now, when you're writing data frame, this is a very common mistake my last batch did. They made frame F small. So remember, in data frame, my both D and F are capital. Okay. So this is an empty data frame I can create. So when I execute this, it will tell me there is nothing in the column and there is nothing in the rows. Okay. So this is a simple data frame. Then you can create a data frame with your Numpy array. Just create any Numpy array, copy paste it from series above and pass it on the data frame. And when you print, it might look like a series output, but you will have a column header also. So if your input data does not have a column header, your Panda will provide it a column header, which will be your index starting from the 0. Yes, this is one dimensional. Yes, Hitesh, it is one dimensional, but it is treated as two dimension. So let me show you a two dimension one also. Hitesh, see. Series is one dimensional, data frame is two dimensional, right? But if I specify one column only, I can specify one in a two dimensional matrix. I can specify only one column and still treat it as two dimensional, right? So this is happening here. But generally that is not the case when you're doing a case study. So if you have one dimensional, you usually go for series. Okay. But yes, you can create, it will be a two dimensional. Data frame will always be a two dimensional, but I'm using only one column out here. Okay. All right. So let's create a data frame. So what I did was I created a dictionary. Okay. All right. So I created a dictionary where my key is name and my value, instead of 1, I have a list. Okay. And my second key is again also a list. Ensure the total number of values in both your list is same. Otherwise, it will be an error. Okay. So I have created a dictionary. I'm trying to create a data frame from a dictionary where I have one key. Okay. In case you're not able to execute it, don't worry about it. I'll pass it on to you guys. Okay, and I'll make sure this time that you are getting it. Okay, so I'm creating a dictionary called as Marvel Heroes, and I have a key name, and I have a list of all the heroes, and I have their ratings. And I pass this dictionary to my data frame, and I'm printing, I'm getting a two-dimensional data. Okay, I'm getting my two-dimensional data frame with one column as name and second column as rating. And since I do not have any row headers, so I'm getting an indexing out here. Okay, done. Simple. Now what if I want my column headers, I want to specify my row headers as well. All right, so let me create that case. Okay, now here I'm trying to create a data frame with the list of Python. I have the list of data here. So this is my data, Marvel Heroes. It is a list, it is a simple Python list. So when I'm creating a data frame, I'm saying this is my data, Marvel Heroes. Then I'm giving my row headers like I have given here. If I have to specify my row headers, I'll define it using index equal to analyst. Okay. So I'm defining it using an argument called as index equal to, and then I specify the list. And then columns equal to, and I'm defining my column header. So here I have defined my column header. I have defined here my row headers, and here is my data. Now, if you want to create a more complex data, you want to build up a more complex data, say if think it is one dimensional, what if I want to only one column, if I want 2, 3, 4 columns? So let's create list 1. Let's create list 2. Okay. So name of their Marvel heroes, name of those Marvel heroes as superheroes, and third list as ratings. Okay. So I've created 3 lists. Out of this 3 list, I create a dictionary. Key, value, second key, value, third key, value. Okay. And then I pass on this to my data frame. Okay. Now, if I want to specify index 2, I can use here index. Okay. And give my row headers. All right. Whatever row, how many I have data I have? 8. So I'll give it here A, B, C, okay. So I can have my row headers, I have my column headers, I have my 3 columns of data. So here I have created my data frame with column headers, row headers, and row headers are called as index here. Okay. So any doubt out here, you can ask for creation of data frame. Any doubt out here, please ask. Or anything you want to repeat me from series to data frame, because after this I have to start with your case study, because everything I'll do it on the rest of the study, we'll do it on the case study only, whatever we have to do. So it will help with your project also. Okay, just go through it once, giving you 5 minutes, 2 minutes, not 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and just go through it and let me know if you have any query, any question on it. And if you want to execute the last one, please go ahead and try it. Then I have to start with your case study. I'll take 5-10 minutes more so that basic idea is worked out, so that tomorrow we can, spend good time on it. 5-10 minutes more, okay? Just 5-10 minutes more. Let me know when I can go ahead. Kumar Baba is asking, is it required to create dictionary? Kumar, if you create a dictionary, it will be a much more cleaner way to, see, generally 99% of the time, when you're doing a data analysis, you will be loading your data from your CSV file. You won't be creating it from the raw data, okay? You will have your raw data in your CSV file and you will directly load it in your data frame. But if you have to do it, excuse me, just a second. Okay. Now, even if you have to do it, okay, you can do it from Numpy also using arrays, or you can do it from the raw data also. Okay. I'm doing it from the dictionary because it gives me a very clean cut picture what I'm doing it. Yes, Rohit, indexing ABCD is hard coding and we never use it. You just usually get, you prefer actually using just a second question. Sorry about that. Yeah, Rohit. See, you never give ABCD. You even don't give A0, A1 dynamically. Because usually when you are dealing with a good amount of data, okay, just like we did in suicide cases, we have, more than 2 lakh of data. You don't want to go and giving your, create an extra variables of row headers. Usually you let Panda give its own indexes. And that is a much more easier way of handling the data. So it is just an option you have. If you want to give, Panda gives it, but we generally don't use it when we're using a, yes, generally we leave it to default. That is a better idea. That is a better way of doing it. Because see, if you have a data to analyze which have 10 million rows, why do you want to give your row names, right? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, thanks. All right. So let's go ahead. Can I move ahead to your case study? Because I just want to do 2-3 things before we actually start analyzing. Just 2-3 things and create a base for you for tomorrow. Okay. So all of you, please open a very fresh new code. Okay. Please open a new Python code. Okay. And just let me give you a background for your case study. All right. To understand your pandas, to understand your visualization, okay, we will be working with this case study. Yes, Sudeep, there are 2 CSV files for this case study. One is your matches.csv, okay, and other is your deliveries. You see, matches.csv and deliveries.csv. I have sent it 3 days back, and please ensure the format is CSV. Yes, in Pandas, you can read Excel file also. There is an option. Okay. So it should be there with you guys. I think Deepika showed me these 2 files out there with you, right? Okay. You have it with you, Sudeep? Okay. You are saying yes, so I believe it. All right. So for understanding Pandas and for understanding visualization, we will be relying on this one case study. Right. Okay. So this case study, in this case study, we have data about your IPL matches. I hope there is nobody in the group which doesn't know what an IPL is. If there is anyone, I will clarify it before we go ahead. Anyone who doesn't understand what IPL is? So this is about all the cricket matches, all the IPL cricket matches, the data which has taken place between 2008 to 2019. Yes, I don't have the data for 2021 and 22 included into it yet. Okay, so it doesn't matter, but this data is good enough for your analysis. Now IPL matches happens over 6 to 8 weeks and different cities. Over the 60 to 70 matches are played in each season. Here season we are referring to a year. Okay. Now whenever you are seeing matches, right? Whenever you are watching matches, you always hear sports commentators saying, these are the top 10 scorers from this season, or these are the top 10 batsmen from this season. He was the highest scorer from this season, and so on and so forth. It's not that they have memorized all that data. There is a team of sports analysts who are working. Okay, you cannot see the screen. Oh, sorry. Resume, share. Okay. Can you see this screen now, Vandana? All others? Okay, sorry, I paused the screen to change it and I forgot to resume it. All right. Okay. So about the cricket matches, so we have two files with you, matches.csv. The matches.csv dataset contains information about each and every match. So for each and every match, it was played between team 1 and team 2. Who won the toss? Who won the? So this is a column description. So in which year that match was played, in which city the match was played, on which date the match was played, which were the 2 teams, who won the toss, whether they decided to bat or they decided to bowl, whether there was a result, that means somebody won the match, or whether the match was drawn or cancelled, whether the Duckworth-Lewis method was applied. Now, who can tell me what was Duckworth-Lewis method in cricket? Some cricket fan out there? Anyone who can tell me what DL, Duckworth-Lewis? Yes. See, Duckworth-Lewis method refers to a mathematical formula in case weather interrupted your match or is there any other reason the match was interrupted. There is a formula which they applied, number of overs and number of runs played by that team. So we don't have to go into that formula. It's just that to understand whether the winner was decided based on Duckworth-Lewis method. Okay. So it's just a Boolean value, 0 or 1, saying whether it was applied or not. Okay. Who was the winner? Whether the team was won by runs or whether it was won by wickets. Can you tell me what is the difference between win by runs and win by wickets? Because we are going to analyze maximum of our questions based on these 2 columns. When is there a team wins by run and when the team is win by wickets? Yes. All right. So Rohit has given us an answer. If the team is batting first, wins the match, it usually wins by runs. And if the team that won was batting second, it will win by wickets. So this is a little concept I want you guys to be clear about when we are analyzing the data tomorrow. Okay. Then of course the player of the match refers to the man of the match in our terms. So this is clear. Venue is the stadium where the match was played and the 3 umpires who were umpiring the match. So I believe you are clear about the matches data. All right. So I think tomorrow we will be working only on matches. If we get a chance, we'll discuss the delivery also. Okay. Now, when you are analyzing the data, we will be try to answer these questions. There are many questions you can answer. Okay. Highest and lowest winning margin, who won by more than 100 runs, who won. So different questions we will try to answer while we are analyzing our data. Okay. So let's go back to our code. Okay. So these are some of the questions we will try to answer. Some of the questions I will leave to you guys when I'm confident that you guys can answer. So as usual, we'll start with the loading of your libraries, Pandas and Numpy. Okay. Now, try to read the file. To read the file, to read the data, if you have in the CSV format, read underscore CSV. Okay, read underscore CSV, and you will get your entire data like this. Please go ahead and read your data. Okay, in case your scroll bar is not being shown because this data is huge, you can go to cell, all outputs, toggle scrolling, and you will have scroll bar with your data. You can do this. Okay, in case you're not seeing any scroller out here, you can do this. Okay, just read your data. After you have read your data, tell me the number of rows. Tell me the shape. Yes, please go ahead and tell me the shape. How many rows of data you have? Good. Parvez is saying good. What about the rest? Yes. So we have 756 rows and we have 18 columns. Okay. So this is what we get doing the shape. Okay. So I'm stopping it out here. So you guys have loaded the data, you understood the data. Tomorrow we will start working with this data. Okay. So the only thing I want you guys from you is, please be ready by uploading the matches data and getting it shaped so that tomorrow we can, go ahead and work on the analysis of this data, understanding of the data, and the analysis further, right? So any more queries from today's, I can answer, otherwise we can close the session for today. Let me know if you have any queries. And if you have understood this data, just if you want, you can do one thing. You can execute a command called as columns. Okay, you will get columns. So you understand what all columns we have. So tomorrow when we are analyzing, we can work with it. So any more queries, guys, or you guys can leave? Yes, Praneeth, I will forward. Okay, Abhinav, general question. Praneeth, I will forward it right away. Even before having my dinner, the first thing I'll do is forward it to my coordinator and I'll give her a strict instructions. Please ensure the LS1 code and this code reaches to you guys. Preferably before tomorrow's class. Since it's late at night, I don't think she would be checking her mail, but I'll drop her a WhatsApp also. Okay. Abhinav, general question, TE difficulty level, because most of us are first timers. Abhinav, yes, Python would be difficulty level. It would be, yes, it will be difficult, or I will say medium level difficulty. But if you are doing this IPL case study with me, and then you will be doing your project, then the questions won't be difficult for you. But you have not done either this case study nor the project, then the questions would be very, very difficult to you. See, concentrate on data frames. For TE, I'm saying concentrate on data frames. Concentrate how the case study we will be doing cleaning of the data, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next class. Concentrate on how the filtering, sorting, grouping, and summarizing of data happens in the data frame. And then, yes, visualization is optional part of your syllabus. I will try to cover part of it in your LS4 once we are through with the main part. Okay. But yes, if you do this case study and do your project, should not be difficult. And don't think Python as first timers. See, I'll give you a very good, analogy. When you study English subject in your school, right? You don't bother about it, but ultimately you realize you are studying your physics, chemistry, maths, or whatever subjects you are studying in your 11th class and 12th class, or whatever studies you have done in a grad and postgrad, and whatever education you have done. If you have not taken English seriously, or you think I cannot do English, those subjects become difficult. Same is the case. That is why it is called as programming language. If you plan to have your career in analytics, Python is equivalent to your English language for your rest of the career. So you need to buckle up on your Python, go through your notes of your basics of Python, and see, it's not difficult. It is same thing that gets repeated again and again. So you don't have a very wide variety of commands to run or code to execute. Once you get a basic hang of it into these two projects, then it becomes very, very easy to you, just like you have in your English. Can you please show the code for importing the data? Yes, sure, please. It's simple. Read underscore CSV. Swaminath, if you get it, let me know. It is name of the variable. I prefer to add underscore TF so that I can identify this is my data frame. Okay. And it's of IPL matches, and that is why. Okay. Right, Abhinav, you're welcome. You're most welcome. Okay. All right. Okay. You're welcome, guys. Thank you, Vandana. Thank you. Okay, Paritosh. Rohit is asking, will we get case studies in TE by coding or derived stars? Rohit, let me answer this question. Can you ask this question again in LS4? Because I've still not decided what to give you guys in your TE. But it will be something like your caselet, not this big case study. This definitely not be the big case study because you won't have that much time. It will be a small, 3-4 lines of paragraph, some small data, and whatever you will be learning in your pandas, you will be getting that. So it might be deriving statistics, might be summarizing the data, grouping the data. So I still have to work out your questions. So yes, something similar, but on a very, very small level. I won't call that as case study. I will call it as caselet. I understand that you guys are new to it, but try to practice alongside with me here in the class. And when you will do the project next week for submission, that is good enough to get you through TE. And you will be much more confident when you do the project. Okay, Abhinav, that's help. You're welcome. Questions, yes, it will be like the case study and the project. The questions would be like same, highest, lowest, summarizing, grouping, something like this. Okay, Deepika, what is the difference between info and D type? Deepika, I can take it now if you want. I can take it tomorrow. All right. Info gives me whole lot of more in D type gives me just the data type. All right. It just give me that data type of a particular column. Info gives me whole lot of data. It will give me the total number of rows. What is the indexing of the rows? Indexing of the columns, name of the columns, number of data values in the columns, what is the type of the data in that particular column, how much memory it has used it. So info gives me much more data which just beside data. We'll take this tomorrow, don't worry. Okay. Be speaking, okay. English you are speaking every day, don't worry, you will be, if you're doing analysis, you will be speaking in Python every day. I think I don't know when is your TE, but you will have enough time by that time. Abhinav, don't get so tense about TE. That is one thing. You are learning this course to upgrade your skill for your career. Okay. And TE, if you do this project, the project you've been given, you won't find TE at all difficult. Okay. I think, I don't know when your TE exams is. I still have not got the dates. And definitely don't worry. Okay. Paritosh, you didn't give the path. Paritosh, I don't have access to your Google Drives. I don't have access to any drives from which you download the data. I only email all the content to my coordinator in Narsi Mohanji. She passes it on to your coordinator in your upgrade, and your upgrade people upload it. Okay. So I cannot give you the path because I don't know what the path is. Don't have. Yes, the commands will be from these discussions. I don't think so. You need to go outside. You don't need to go outside. Okay. Good night, guys. Good night. Yes, you can ask an LS4. Remember to that. Fine. All right. Thank you, Rohit. You're welcome. Deepika. Thank you, Pooja. Take care, all of you guys. Good night. Thank you. Okay, Paritosh is asking, why didn't you give the path while loading the file? Okay, I did not give the path while loading the file because I did a very smart work. My file and my Python file. Where is my file? Yeah, say suicide file here or my matches file here. It is in the same folder as my code. Okay, I prefer it that way because, you know, whenever you are executing or whenever you're passing this material, see, I have faced this problem. Most of the students, what they do is they use import library OS, and in OS they directly load it from Windows. Okay, and or they have some other path, which when I try to execute their code out here on my PC, on my laptop to check on their project, it gives loads of errors. So what I do is I prefer it on the same folder so that when I load your project files and data in the same folder, I don't get errors in loading. Okay. So that is the reason I don't give the path, because I did the smart work of keeping code and data in the same. But if it is not in the same, you need to give the path. Sudeep, no, there won't be any CSV file to read. The data would be directly there. I will give you a data frame. The data will be there in the data frame and you will work on the data frame. Sudeep is asking whether the CSV file will be there to need. No, there won't be any CSV file there. You will read directly from a data frame. Yes, tomorrow we will see you tomorrow, guys, tomorrow morning. Okay, 29 July, you have tea? Okay, let some kind of official confirmation come to me and okay. Welcome Siddhant. Okay, Vishwadeep 29 and 30. Okay, thanks Vishwadeep for updating me. All right, guys, have a good night. And since there are no more questions, I am closing the session now.